Hey, it's been a minute, but welcome back to my channel on YouTube here. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're watching. I just felt like it's been a while, so I decided to do a video, and I was going to talk about some of the things I disliked in art school when I was there and attending and, you know, just suffering. But and this is not just focused on Montclair. I actually also went to community college before I went off to Montclair. So it's a combination of both places. My experience to why I dislike the programs in both areas. And, you know, you shouldn't take it to heart too much, because I know other people had like great experiences, or they consider art school to be the best thing to happen to them. I don't know. But, you know, this is just my experience. So the first three things I'm going to talk about, because I feel like this is just gonna be a series. Favoritism, their grading system. I might go back into that, but like I already did a video on that one, so I might just quickly speed over it. Actually, scratch that. We're not doing the grading system. We're gonna do favoritism, buying supplies and stuff for the school, like professors, and how they act for that. And I actually wrote down you know what, and like I think this is a big one, so I'll put this at the end, is preparing us for like the real art world. That's another. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to roll the intro and then hold on before I start. Look at the Corey Kenshin drip, love it. Okay, all right, so now that we got that out the way, so yeah, let's get into it. Favoritism. Obviously, I kind of discussed this a little bit in the grading system one too, but like professors, there's favoritism everywhere. But like when we used to do critiques, it used to come out in a lot of professors. And as a person who was on both ends of like not the favorite student but also the favorite student, like in certain classes, I kind of got the feel of like both areas. And then I was just in the middle, like just like I was a student who they knew me and they were like, okay, whatever. But like I have literally sat in classes where we started doing critiques, and you know, everybody for critiques put up your stuff, and everybody's like nervous about it because the professor's opinion is really what they only care about, and then just showing off their art in front of everybody, and they're like, oh man, this person's art looks better than mine, yada yada, you know, like all that stuff. You get nervous. And I used to see like some of the unfavorites of the professors' unfavorites, and they used to do, sometimes it was like well deserved, because sometimes they did slack off, but like there was times where like people really did what was told in the project. Like in the other video I referenced a time in it was like integrative 2, I think that's what they called it, and it was like a drawing class, and it was to further our ideas of like drawings or something like that, like planning out and like the process. It was supposed to further our education on that. And I remember like he was really rude to the one girl. Like she did this piece, we had a art appropriate a piece called The Night Watch, and by Rembrandt or something, and she did it using SpongeBob characters, and he didn't like that. He thought there was something wrong. He was like, oh, how old are we? Aren't we like 18 and older? Like, why are we still using like cartoons? And then go over to the next guy, and he literally had drawings of cartoons himself. It just wasn't SpongeBob. Like it was like that mouse with it's like that funky mouse or something or whatever, and it was just like, that's a cartoon. Like what was the difference between hers and it? And he just did it was like his just didn't even make sense, the guys. And he was just like, I like this, I like your design, I like da 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 da. And the dude was like, yeah, you know, like I was trying to do something like this. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, why he tagged her and then he didn't do the same for the other guy. And like I've literally seen, like, that's what I mean, like, professors will attack you if they will pressure you and they'll try to get you to, like, you know, I guess say something wrong. Because there have been times, again, I was on the other side, I was not being the favorite, and I had this professor named Greg. I mean, like, we were cool, he was cool, but it was just like, you know, like, he would push me to, like, figuring out the meaning or something, and, like, try to put me on the spot. And I was like, I used to always, like, get him. I'm like, oh, well, no, this is what I meant. This is what I meant. And he's like, well, that doesn't look like that's what you, and he's like, are you sure? That doesn't look like it here in this piece. And I'm like, yes, you just can't see it. Or maybe it just didn't translate well enough, but this is what I meant. You're not changing my mind. And, like, all this stuff, like, sometimes you just gotta know how to get back at them. But yeah, that was the favoritism thing. Moving on. Another thing that I really hated was, like, how professors would pressure you or force you and pressure you into buying, like, all this art supplies for the class, and then we not use any of it, or we use, like, the pencils or something. So for example, like, every college, like, the first day or whatever, or even sometimes before the first day of school, like, class to start, you get what's it called? You get a paper, the syllabus. You get a syllabus, and that's, like, basically the professor telling you what the class is about, what you need, the books, yada yada. And sometimes they even have, like, list out, like, week by week what you're going to go over and when something is due. And yeah, and for art, they sometimes have the projects. They have the projects listed out and what you'll need. And so I'm gonna reference Greg again because he was from my community college. Comes up a lot because he was, like, one of the professors, and this is my early stages as well, so I obviously did it, but, like, he was one of the professors that really was like, you need this type of brush, you need this type of thing, you need this, and these materials. And along with, like, my painting teacher also in community college. But Greg would make us get all this stuff, and then I remember spending, like, so much money my first semester, because even my second semester, like, the first year, I spent so much money on just buying paints, buying ink, buying wires, and all this stuff, because that's what I needed for these classes, or that's what I thought I needed for these classes. And then we never got to the project. I'm like, made me waste my money. So I used to hate that so much. Like, why don't you just tell us, you know, buy the material before we have the project, so that at least I can go and get it then and not buy it beforehand, and then we skip the project, or we don't need to use the materials anymore, because now I just have these materials and I don't even know what to do with them. I can't return them to the store because I got them a month ago or 2 months ago or something. Like, the semester's 15 weeks long. I get it. Like, sometimes you really can't get every project in because we spend more time sometimes on other projects, but it was just, don't force me to get something if you know, or not if you know, but don't force me to get something so soon if we're not going to need it so soon. And then I was like, another thing was, they also, like, for courses, if they required a textbook, and it's like, okay, got you, I'm gonna get this textbook. Here's a keynote. If you're in school, do not buy the textbook before the first day of class, because sometimes on the first day of class, the professor's like, you don't need this textbook, no textbook required, or you can get it, but, you know, it's you can get it to look at, to reference, but you don't really need it. And I started doing that. Actually, I was doing that to begin with, but when I would go on the first day for these classes, the professors would say you need the book and all this stuff, and then we go through the whole 15 weeks or something, 13 weeks. We'll be like 5 weeks in, never used the book. 6 weeks in, never used the book. Never went for it for references, never went for it to readings, anything. Homework, nothing. Never. And it's not even like I would go into the book myself, because there's certain stuff, like certain books, I was just like, I don't want to read this. This seems boring. I'm more of a hands-on person. Like, can you show me? And I just repeat it until I know and I understand. And the book was unnecessary. There are some books that I did get on my own to teach me how to draw before I went to community college, because I felt like I needed to have the basics of drawing. And then that was kind of stupid because they ended up teaching us anyway. not stupid, I guess it was, I mean, it didn't have to, it was kind of like, I wouldn't say stupid. It actually was very helpful, and actually I'm glad I did it. Now they just sit on my shelf. I actually might look at them again, but it's just like that, like, so, you know, it's just like, I remember even they will ask for the most expensive stuff too. I hated that. Like, I understand you want me to get like a pen or something or a pencil, and you want it to be like this so I can get the best quality out of it. I get that. But right now we're in art school. If you're teaching us basic stuff anyway, we don't need high quality projects. And especially not in our beginning year. None of us are getting internships at this beginning, and it was community college and stuff. Like, we didn't need internships to pass, so it's like we're not getting internships. I understand we need a portfolio, but like sometimes I think that's what needs to be changed in the art world. Is like having your portfolio from school. Like, it doesn't need to be like made out of high quality things. And I see people do a lot with crayons anyway nowadays, like regular Crayola crayons. So you're telling me I need a pencil that costs $20 to get the shading? No, I don't think so. I think it's all about technique. And if I don't have that technique, and if I don't have those skills, the material doesn't matter what I use. It's all about skill. Like, there have been plenty. I got the most expensive paints, I got the brushes, I got all this stuff, and my paintings never came out looking like Van Gogh. And they're not. I don't have the technique, I don't have the skill. Like, and that's okay. I'm learning. So that was kind of like irritating. It's like stuff like that. It was just like you're forcing us to get all this stuff, and you're not even teaching us how to actually use it properly either. So again, wasting my time, wasting material, wasting money, everything. Yeah, sorry, little rant. Also, go back to the little book thing just really fast. It's like when they would tell us to get the books and then we don't use them, and it was just like, you're wasting my money again, and now I have to wait till the end of the semester to return them. Or sometimes people will buy the book and they can't get rid of the book, and then they're like, well, it's a good reference book. And I'm like, okay, if that was the case, then you should have just recommended the book to us and not force us to buy it. Like, if it was just for recommendations, then just say, like, just it'd be like a lot of complicated stuff. Okay, and last but not least, this is just part 1 again, so there's more to come, but preparing us for the art world. And I actually might just do a full extension video on this, just because this video is running long already. But yeah, I was not prepared for the art world, and only one professor, and I was in my final year, prepared me for the art world. And Professor Lee, if you're listening, you were the best. Like, you are the best, and you were the best professor like we ever could have. They were like the best, and yes, that's their pronouns. They were the best. I don't even know. Like, they gave this presentation to us, and it was basically like telling us about art residencies, like all this gallery stuff, like artist toolbox, what we need for our portfolios, like all this amazing things we needed to learn. And I think I have to look for it, but I think I still have the presentation, because I remember they sent it to us through email so we can have it. So if I do still have it, I will definitely use it and probably do a full video on it and just talk about preparing young artists for the art world and stuff, because it was actually very helpful and useful, and it furthered me into thinking, okay, I don't want to be a gallery artist. That's where I concluded with that. But now I'm like, I kind of do want to be a gallery artist, but like I also want to do other little things. But like, I don't think I was actually fully prepared, just because, and everybody in that class, even when they gave that presentation, we were all like telling them, no other, Professor Lee, you're the only one who's actually showing us how to do this. You're the only one that's actually like preparing us for the art world. And like, it's freaking crazy. Like, Professor Lee was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm the only one, like, there's throughout your, and we were like, yes. we spent, either some of them spent 4 years, or for me it was like, you know, actually yeah, we all 4 years. None of the professors taught us anything. And I went from school to school. Like, I went from the community to the university, and I never learned much about the art world. I was just like, wow, that's great. So yeah, like, I just felt like ill prepared, and I think that's why I'm still struggling now. Is like, what do I do? How do I sell my art? How do I do? They never taught us how to sell our art. Aren't we artists? How do we sell our art? Like, I never learned how to sell my art. I never learned how to, like, I guess you could say I kind of learned how to put together a portfolio, but like, I honestly wish there was like a little mini, I think they probably, I'm trying to think, did they have like a little seminar to do that once? Yeah, they had one seminar and I missed it. Great. But I feel like that's just something, when you level up in courses, you should have always, instead of like 8 history classes where they teach the same European artist over and over again. That's another thing. That's another story for another time, of what I didn't learn in art school and why I dislike it. Yeah, Professor Lee literally taught us as much as they could. In the one semester they were our professor, they taught us like what we can expect getting out of school, where we should go. We should all do an art residency sometime in our life. And I was like, yeah. And that's exactly why, like, I'm thinking of applying to one or a couple. And also, a little tip, never pay to have your stuff. I think it was never pay to have your stuff featured in a gallery event. I think always look for the free ones. And I was like, ooh, that's a good tip, because I see so many events and they're like $100 and something, or it was like, I think in their PowerPoint it was like, don't pay over like a certain amount or something, either free or don't pay over a certain amount. But I was like, that's a good tip, because one of my friends from art school sent me this gallery event, and it was like $100 or $200 for my stuff to get put up. And I'm like, first of all, my art isn't even selling for hundreds of dollars, so that's a lot of money just for what? People to look and then not pay for it. I guess it's more exposure, but like, that's a lot of money for exposure. I can just make a YouTube video. I can make a TikTok. I can put it on Instagram. Something that's exposure. $100. Ugh. No. So yeah, that's all I had. This video ran pretty long. Try to edit it down to like 15 minutes. But that's basically so far part 1 of my dislikes of art school or art programs or whatever. And you know what, again, from my experience, like, maybe some professors, for others, taught them about the art world. Some professors didn't really do that whole favoritism thing or get smart with other students. You know, I just felt like a lot with the favoritism thing, it was more like trying to make that student feel like a certain way, and it was just like, for what? And they portrayed it, I don't know, I used to just hate it, just because it was just like, they would go from joking with the one student who they liked to like bulldozing the other. And I'm just like, when it was crazy, because sometimes it was like the person they were joking with didn't even deserve that much praise for their work, and then here you have the other person getting like tackled. And I literally, oh my gosh, another story just popped into my head. It was like my senior year thesis, and we were all showing them to the people, the judges, which was the teachers. With 3 teachers. One was our teacher, the other one was a teacher we used to have, but he's like the head of the department. And then there was just like this woman who's I don't know what she was, but like, I remember they got to like my one friend, and his project was very simple, but like, they were like, we don't get it, we don't understand. Like, they were really like snapping on him, and yet they literally were so kind to this girl who had like her project. Art is art. but like she really did it. It wasn't that, I don't know, it was just like, okay, I understand that he missed a couple marks in his, and that's what they told him, but how they were coming for him was absolutely nuts. And I was just like, relax, y'all gotta relax. But okay guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you like, subscribe, please leave a comment down below, share it, I don't know, you know, all this fun stuff that YouTubers say and do. I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully I won't spend too long. I don't think it was that long. I think it's like a couple weeks making up another video and putting it out here for you guys. I actually do have a time-lapse video coming soon of me doing a painting that's just sitting on my door right now. It's actually not even finished, and I think I'm going to turn it into a collage. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I keep looking at it and I'm like, I want to turn it into a collage. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll talk to you guys later then. Okay, bye.